Find out who you really are and find meaning in your life. Following Nietzsche's teachings in existentialism, one of the most important questions of our lives is how we can find ourselves, define our values, and finally find meaning in our lives. To answer these questions, we plunge into the thought of the great philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, precursor of existentialism. Nietzsche warns us about the herd mentality and the importance of not simply following what society imposes as a universal truth. He challenges the idea that the values taken as universal are, in fact, personal expressions of those who promoted them, leading us to reflect on how society creates a rigid moral code that leads to herd mentality. This mindset seeks uniformity and comfort to maintain control over human behavior. Nietzsche argues that this imposition limits our individuality and creativity and may result in extreme antisocial rebellion and attitudes. In confronting social norms, the individual can come across the resistance and hostility of those who fear their individuality. For Nietzsche, it is essential to question and silence internalized negative voices since childhood, seeking to move away from the flock and face the discomfort of leaving the comfort zone to discover its true identity. Nietzsche invites us to embrace the difficulties of self-discovery and to face the challenges of life as an opportunity for spiritual growth. He points out that the hardest path often leads to loneliness, for truly finding ourselves, we often need to move away from external influences and follow a less traveled path. For Nietzsche, being alone is not an easy task, but it is necessary so that we can appropriate who we really are. The idea of distancing themselves from the tribe and seeking freedom can result in severe difficulties, but it is a price we need to be willing to pay to be faithfully ourselves. By refusing the easy way and choosing to go in search of the freedom to be authentic, we must be prepared to face the adversities this deviation can bring. Nietzsche stresses the importance of not allowing our physical and psychological needs to control us, but to assume control over them. He points out that true personal development goes beyond material or relational success taught by current motivational gurus. The internal struggle for self-discovery requires deep sacrifices and a unique courage to look ahead of our deeper fears and emotions. The journey toward freedom is a search for authenticity, where we must confront our own darkness and find strength to transcend the barriers imposed by our society and ourselves. Nietzsche invites us to reflect on the importance of saying yes to what gives us meaning and fills our life with purpose. According to the philosopher, having a why is critical to facing any obstacle we can find in our way. In the past, religion provided meaning to all things, but in an increasingly secular and scientific society, this source of meaning was lost. Nietzsche was concerned with the possibility of people being brought to nihilism, a general apathy, and a lack of willingness to find meaning in life. Therefore, he proposes 3 solutions so that we can find meaning in our lives as individuals. The first suggestion is to replace religion with philosophy, art, music, literature, and theater, areas of humanities that can provide similar benefits. As we get involved in these forms of cultural expression, we are able to contextualize our struggles and get insights on how to deal with the challenges we all face. However, it is crucial to see these activities as tools to live fully and not just as academic studies. If humanities do not arouse their interest, Nietzsche suggests a second option, becoming an Übermensch. The Übermensch is a superhuman capable of creating its own meanings and values without depending on external influences. By assuming total control over its purpose in life, this individual can overcome the dilemma of the meaning of existence simply by inventing his own meaning and taking full responsibility for him. Although Nietzsche has stated that only few men have approached this Übermensch ideal. Quoting Julio Cesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, Buddha, and Goethe, he recognizes that we, as ordinary humans, can seek meanings examining what we really value in our lives. Nietzsche challenges us to find our true values as a means of releasing the greatest weight we carry. According to the philosopher, we often adopt values imposed by the flock without questioning its validity, which leads us to repeat errors and feel crushed by the emotional burden. The greatest weight symbolizes the feeling of being trapped in an unraveled behavior cycle, perpetuating a self-destructive pattern. For Nietzsche, it is crucial to deeply examine our own values and question if we are truly acting in accordance with who we really are. Only through this self-reflection and constant reassessment can we raise the greatest weight, releasing the currents imposed by society and ourselves. Nietzsche uses the metaphor of greatest weight to make us reflect on the emotional burden we carry by repeating behavioral patterns without questioning our values. According to the philosopher, the load we feel when blinded to the norms imposed by our society is overwhelming. This constant pressure to fit the herd and adopt predetermined values ends up keeping us trapped in a cycle of repetition of past errors. Lack of self-equation prevents us from becoming authentic individuals, turning us into slaves not only of external expectations, but also of self-imposed limitations. Therefore, raising the greatest weight means challenging social conventions and profoundly examining our own principles and values to break with this self-destructive cycle and find true freedom. Nietzsche challenges us to continually reevaluate social norms and act according to our own principles to raise the greatest weight we carry. By constantly questioning the beliefs and values imposed on us by society, we are able to break with the currents that keep us imprisoned in a harmful compliance cycle. Only by actively challenging the established conventions and by aligning our actions with our true essence can we reach the long for individual freedom. Raising the greatest weight means taking full responsibility for our choices, seeking an authentic and significant life based on our own values and purposes. Nietzsche invites us to reflect on a concept of love fati, or love for destiny, as a philosophy of life that accepts and embraces each event, whether considered good or bad, as an essential part of our development and personal evolution. Contrary to the pessimistic view that adverse events are mere tragic coincidences or divine punishments, Nietzsche proposes that we should face each challenge as an opportunity for growth. Loving destiny does not mean passive resignation in the circumstances of life, but an active stance of constant learning. As we adopt love fati, we are able to take full responsibility for our journey and find meaning even in the most difficult situations. This love for destiny allows us to see beyond superficial appearances and understand the intrinsic beauty of the ups and downs of existence, turning each obstacle into a step towards our self-discovery. Nietzsche invites us to reflect on the journey of becoming an Übermensch, a superior human being who creates his own meanings and values without depending on external influences. This path towards individuation requires profound self-transformation, where we are challenged to break with social conventions and question the established norms to find our true essence. Becoming an Übermensch is not just about rebelling on the status quo, but of seeking an inner authenticity that guides our actions and choices. By adopting this stance of total independence and responsibility for our values and purposes, we are able to raise our existence beyond the limitations imposed by society and achieve a higher level of self, knowledge, and freedom. Love fati reveals Nietzschean philosophy to accept and embrace fate with gratitude, recognizing that each event, both positive and negative, is essential to our personal journey of self, knowledge, and growth. By adopting love fati, not only passively accept events, but we embrace them as opportunities to strengthen our resilience and inner wisdom. Instead of resisting or mourning the adversities of life, we consider each challenge as a fundamental piece in the construction of our identity and our character. Through this love of destiny, we learn to extract valuable lessons from all experiences, even the most difficult, and to cultivate a mentality of gratitude before the universe around us. Nietzsche invites us to reflect on the importance of embracing the concept of love fati, which means loving and accepting fate with gratitude, recognizing that each event in our lives, whether positive or negative, plays a key role in our personal journey. By adopting love fati, We are challenged not only passively accept the circumstances of life, but to embrace them as genuine opportunities to strengthen our resilience and cultivate a deeper inner wisdom. Instead of resisting or mourning the challenges we find, we must consider them as essential pieces in the construction of our character and identity. This philosophy teaches us how to extract valuable lessons from all lived experiences, including those more difficult, and to develop a mentality of gratitude to the universe around us. Subscribe to the channel for more videos about ancient philosophical wisdom that can help you find success and happiness. Thanks for watching.